There are many people searching for answers. What will I be in the future? Why am I not as bright as this person or that person? Why are my grades so poor? The questions are endless, especially for young Africans. We want to help. We have a solution. At GradePlus Africa, we believe Africans can live purpose-driven lives, be exceptional academically, and have superior mental strength. We have just the right tools and resources to make this happen.
On one hand, you can start a small business. So these are the traditional businesses, like coffee shop somewhere. That's one way. The other way is as a startup founder, something that you have identified a need or an opportunity that can be scaled beyond that segment. So that's another way as a founder, a startup founder, or a small business owner. All of them, I consider them entrepreneurs. But where the cake lies, the exact point where you want to be if you want to pursue this is within the entrepreneurship ecosystem. And within an entrepreneurship ecosystem, there are different stakeholders, there are different people who do different things. So one, as I said, these are entrepreneurs, the typical ones. The one who is starting his company, small business owner, that's one category of people. So you can choose to be one of those. The other part is I call them innovation vendors. These are organizations that support entrepreneurs. So for example, African Leadership University is an educational institution, but also it's like an innovation hub, which supports student entrepreneurs to pursue entrepreneurship as a career. And WFP, World Food Program, for example, they are an organization, but they have a WFP accelerator, which supports entrepreneurs. So this is another area which you can look at. You don't have to start your own company or be a small business owner. You can actually work, enter the market, enter this ecosystem through these vendors as an employee. And through that, you can learn a lot about entrepreneurship and find yourself in that bubble. Because it's, as I mentioned earlier, entrepreneurship is a very personal journey, and it's not fixed. There's a lot of opportunities and ways in which you can enter and navigate. And I'm just highlighting a few of them, but this is not the exhaustive list. So the organization or the innovation vendors, this is another way which you can enter the ecosystem. So like, for example, I am an ecosystem builder or enabler, because I'm doing it through the African Leadership Group, even though I'm also a founder. But there are people who I know in the industry who they just focus on that part of being an enabler, someone who supports the organizations which support entrepreneurs. And then the other area is in the investment landscape. So this is where we talk about impact investing, where there is funding for startups. So some people also go in that direction. The typical route that I've seen, at least, is you start as an entrepreneur, and then you become a coach or mentor who supports other entrepreneurs, because somehow you understand some of the challenges and the problems they face. And then over time, you want to do much more than that. You want to connect the ecosystem. So this is where now you can say, okay, I want to go in the direction of impact investing and see how I can support also the entrepreneurs through that direction. And that is related to my company, Athmetes, which also is an AI and blockchain technology platform that matches entrepreneurs, African impact entrepreneurs and global investors, but also with their fellow founders. So this is, in this case, you're becoming an ecosystem enabler. You're creating an ecosystem, pathways in which these entrepreneurs can engage and get the support they might need. So there's a lot of opportunities in these areas. But the other one, the typical one, is you don't have to be a founder yourself. You don't have to start. I mean, my previous company, I didn't start that company. It was my friend who was very passionate about arts and creative economy, and I joined him. We partnered. So I provided the business acumen in the business in the company, and he brought that perspective as a creative person, someone who's passionate about that. So there are many ways in which you can enter the entrepreneurship landscape. The opportunities are limitless. Uh, and this is just not the exhaustive list. There is much more than this, beyond this. But one thing I also wanted to add on that is you also have to understand your own passion, your own skill set, when you want to choose one of these pathways. For instance, if you are passionate about women empowerment, um, through that you can think, okay, maybe I can actually become a founder myself, or I can join organizations which support female entrepreneurs. So you see, you are still following your passion, but you could follow it in different paths of entrepreneurship. You could follow it as a supporter of entrepreneurs, ecosystem enabler, or as a founder, or as a co-founder, and these kind of things. But what you need to think before you decide is your own passion and your own skill set, so that when you are choosing, you choose something that aligns with your goals and your abilities. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that very important stuff. I think one major thing I'm taking out of what you said also, which is very key, is that entrepreneurship is not a one-way street, right? So
Exactly.
it's not something that you have to that is rigid. Like probably when we go study stuff in university, say pick a course to study and all of that. So that's why they don't study education, startup building or something. And I know that ALU does a lot of work in this line. And one of the things I noticed I saw in Kigali was that what you do is you have an entire couple of students actually pursuing entrepreneurship as part of their is a core. And so entrepreneurship is like a discipline itself. Why and then in that entrepreneurship body you can it has so many branches, and that branches can actually be is determined by also the different sort of problems that you're even providing solutions to, or if you decide to be an enabler, or if you decide to be an investor and all of that. So it's actually beautiful and all of that. So yeah, so that's so insightful. So yeah, let's go ahead. So yeah, now this next question is kind of like a follow-up question for what you just explained. Okay, so now we know that this is the opportunities and entrepreneurship. So the question is, I think in a way you've answered it, but maybe for the sake of to shed a little bit more light, um, maybe apart from being an investor or even probably, although everything is still together though. So the question is, how can someone decide which of the entrepreneurship pathways or tracks is most suited for them? So, like, I want to explore entrepreneurship. I know that these are the opportunities available. So, what's the hack to to be able to find the best part of entrepreneurship that works for me? Is it just I'm just gonna go do try and error, or let me just say, okay, this looks very lucrative or something? Also, is there a way for you guys, entrepreneurs and all of that? How do you decide to take this particular pathway or this particular track and all of that? Yeah.
Um, Again, there is no one particular path. I can tell you that. I see it every day. Let me give you an example. I am myself I have told you that I sit in a board of my previous company and other companies that I advise. I'm also a founder of a company right now, Athmates, a startup. At the same time, I'm working for ALU, you know, and coaching students on entrepreneurship, and not just students, but even other experienced entrepreneurs. I'm coaching them on startup development, self-leadership, but at the same time, I also coach football. So when you look at all these things, and I see it very common among some of the entrepreneurs I coach. There's an entrepreneur here at ALU. One is obviously taking his degree. Two, he's employed, he's working part-time. Three, he has his own startup, his own company. And four, he also has his own small business. Small business, he's a small business owner. He has uh, a catering business at the university that caters for the university and outside. So when you look at this person, that's why defining these things limits your understanding of them. When you see this person, he's doing four things at the same time, you know, very dynamic. And this is the world that we live in. There's no particular pathway like this is it, this is the one, this is it. Even when you think about entrepreneurship, it's not a straight line. There's a lot of things in it that you could take advantage of. So, but it comes down to you as a person, the skills that you have. Like, for example, I know myself, I'm good at coaching. So no matter what I do, even if I'm building my company, become successful, I will always be coaching people, either in entrepreneurship or in football. So this is just a skill I have, and every skill you have, it's an opportunity for you to monetize it or for you to create impact through that skill. So I don't underestimate the skills that I have. They might be very few, but I'm using these skills to generate income for myself, to create impact for the world, like supporting other people. So it comes to your skill, the skills that you have, your passions, what you are interested in. Because entrepreneurship, starting businesses, even in itself, there are all kinds of business out there. There is even within the entrepreneurship ecosystems, there is mini ecosystems. Like you think about health entrepreneurship. This is a pathway in itself. We have women entrepreneurship. All these are ways, education entrepreneurship. So it all comes down to the kind of interest that you have. So you need to align them and be dynamic. You have to be dynamic. Don't limit yourself like this is it. This is the pathway. I'm a doctor. I'm this. This is it. Don't define yourself by definitive, by being definite. Allow even you yourself. Your existence is bigger than your own definition of yourself. You could find out something about yourself in future that you didn't even know. So when you start limiting yourself to these titles and these definitions, they limit the ability in which you can come out and be able to explore more things and grow. So yeah, I mean, in summary, I will bring it back to the kind of passion, interest that you have, and the skills that you have. And you don't have to have everything. You don't have to be perfect, you know. Unlike many of the uh, founders that I'm coaching right now, who have a lot of opportunities, they have a lot of mentorship, a lot of funding, and all that. For me, I didn't have all that, so I had to do it by myself, like raw. I did entrepreneurship in a raw way, not through learning in class or listening to things like this. No, I mean, of course, I used to listen to people and all that, but at the end of the day, it came down to me making that decision and doing and coming out to try and learn and fail and fail. I started so many businesses, more than 10 since 2017 till now, and only 2 survived. The rest of them failed. So this is what it's about.
Amazing. That's actually so beautiful. And this makes a lot of sense to me. Because I'm also very, very kind of versatile person. So sometimes it's very difficult to say, oh, this is how to really go about this and all of that and select something. But the entire thing comes back to the person. What do you have and what can you do? What's your skill? What are you passionate about? So that's very key. Passion is and aspiration is really a key part, key factor in determining what you will go with. So that would have actually been my next question, but you've answered it already. Basically, like aspiration and passion. But the question just going to have to follow up on this before I ask you one other question to talk about how do we even approach all of this. So the question I'm going to ask before I go on that is that we know now that skill and passion is key to discovering what best works for you. So most of the time we have this knowledge that maybe what I studied in school as an probably when I was still undergraduate, let me say I study engineering personally, and then I feel when I want to explore entrepreneurship and all of that, I want to create a path, I want to make impact. Does it have to be in what I study? All of that. Is there a is there a fixed way to go by it by saying um, I have to have a prior experience in a particular tract or a particular thing so that before I venture into entrepreneurship in that line?
Mm,
Assuming that I studied something in school,
mm.
engineering, and then on the long run, I have skill in engineering, maybe product engineering and all of that. And then on the long run, I have a growing passion for catering, but I do not really have any skill, so to say, in catering. Maybe I don't even know how to cook and all that, but I just have a passion for catering because I discovered a problem in the catering industry, and I feel like I can solve it. Is that passion enough to drive me to starting something in catering?
I would think of it like a seed. You know, when you plant a seed, um, of course it's a seed. There is already high potential for this seed to become a huge tree, right? But
Mm,
when you are planting it, it's not enough to just have the seed. You know, there's other factors like the soil, the weather, so that this seed can actually be able to grow. So the conditions, the environmental conditions. So it is the same thing. So passion is great. It is
mhm.
a seed that you have within yourself, and this could be different from person to person. Everyone
Yeah.
have their own things that they are more affiliated or attached to. Um, for example, for me, I love football. If you ask me ideas in football, I can tell you so many ideas in football. That's my passion. I've tried to do something about it before. I'm still doing something about it. Um, uh, but at this point, it's mostly because of that passion that I have. Is it enough? It is both enough and not enough. It is enough
Mhm.
because it's like a seed which is with the right conditions, it can grow. So passion with the right conditions, it can also turn into something fruitful. And you could be an engineer studying engineering, but you are passionate about restaurant, you know.
Mm.
Um, there is something, it could come from maybe your background when you're growing up. These passions are usually there. I don't know how they come about from experience, whether we are born with them. Really, it's difficult to say. But there is just something within yourself that makes you attracted to that. To other people, it's fashion. To other people, it's health. To other people, it's education. So people do things in the moment, not necessarily because they are passionate about it, but maybe because someone went to do an engineering degree, maybe because the parents wanted them to do
Yeah,
that.
wanted it exactly.
Exactly. Or
Something.
maybe it's the prestigious thing and the accepted norm for someone to do that. But really, their passion was never about engineering, maybe. You know, they really don't care about engineering. maybe really what they care about is actually starting a restaurant, which they can sell jollof rice, you know. So it doesn't have to. It definitely doesn't have. It's the passion is the stepping stone. Is the first thing. Is the foundation, as I'd say. And then the next thing is because you are passionate about something, you are driven, you are determined. Even if you don't know much about it, you can learn. You know,
Exactly.
I'm in the business right now of investment and startup and investment. Of course, I have a strong background in startup development, but I'm learning a lot in this other side of this entrepreneurship ecosystem, which is in the investment. It's not something that I'm very good at, I would say, but it's something that I'm learning. But I'm already in that business. So you see, even though I never studied investment or I studied economics, and while I try to do some jobs which are somehow related to economics, like being an analyst for a big company or something like that, I really wasn't really passionate about it. I wanted to create things, to build things. So at the end of the day, I found myself in that direction of entrepreneurship, starting my own thing from scratch and all that. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to limit you or what you are doing right now. You just need to understand or self-reflect on the kind of things that you care about, the kind of passion that you have, or the kind of problems that you're really interested to solve. You know, there are some things that are really irritating you. We are like that, you know. Um, so those things are the things which lay the foundation. And you don't learn those things. No matter how many degrees you take, you will never learn how to be passionate. You can't learn that, you know.
Yeah, you
So
need a
when you have those things, I would say that there is already, it's like, it's a calling. The universe need more from you because you already have that. Some people maybe don't have that kind of drive. For them, the world only makes sense if I finish my degree, I get this job to work in the um, where in the construction or in as a teacher or whatever, and this is it, you know. But for other people, it's not like that. They could be even in the best place. I know an entrepreneur here in Rwanda, very good entrepreneur. Um, Her name is Francine. She owns an energy company here in Rwanda and Burundi. And this lady, she had a very good job in Belgium. She grew up there. She got a big job in a very big organization, getting a lot of money. But at the end of the day, she quit that job to come back to Rwanda to start the energy company. Why did she do that? You know, and it's not even something that she had studied for. Um, but at the end of the day, she followed her passion, and that is really important. So now the next thing is how can you create that? As I said, the seed is there. Now you need to create the conditions for this seed to succeed.
exactly.
And there are certain conditions, of course, in this journey of entrepreneurship, in building businesses, that you will need also to learn along the way, certain skills. Like I had given an example of myself, me now learning about investment landscape and all that. So don't be scared to jump into the cold water. You will learn, and you should have the attitude of a learner, because this is what accelerates your journey for you to live up to that. For you to live up to that vision of yourself.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Mohammed. Thank you so much. So yeah, passion is a both enough and not enough. So it's the seed. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing. And because entrepreneurship is all about solving problems. It's all about solving problems. So
Yeah, like
the problem. Yeah.
passion. For example, passion will come a long way. Like there are times when I mean, this journey, I can tell you, this journey is very difficult, especially if you are solving big problems. There are times when you will have like the worst days. You will be the loneliest. You'll be depressed. In fact, statistics, they say more than 87%. Not 87%. One in three entrepreneurs are depressed. So what will drive you? What will make you still wake up in the morning and still go and do it, even though you know like everything is really messing around? The government is screwing you with taxes and registration and bureaucracy. You don't have funding. Your team is demotivated. The customers are difficult to get, and all these challenges that come with running a business. What will keep you going will be your passion.
Now, thank you for that. And so I have one question that I want to ask you, and that is this webinar is focused on both students and professionals. So you kind of maybe you want to put them together. If they have peculiarities, you may want to separate them. So the question is, maybe I'm a student or I'm a professional now. I'm in my professional space. I am already probably an established accountant, an architect, and all of that. And then I'm having a growing passion. It can be in line of what I'm already experienced in, or what probably something I'm acquiring, I'm learning afresh, and all of that. So, what can you share? What's the proven steps of how to approach entrepreneurship? Just give us step one, step two, step three. Maybe not, it may not be generalized stuff, but if you are coming into entrepreneurship space, probably all you just have is, let's say, a passion or an idea. So how do you approach it, either as a student or as a professional?
I mean, those are two different groups of people, even though they have similarities in terms of the kind of challenge they will be facing. So think of a student. The student has the obligations of the academic. You know, they have to meet the requirements of the academic progress in school. So you're gonna do exams and all that, and attend classes and go to meet lecture facilitators. We don't have lecturers yet; we have facilitators. And for a professional, you have to wake up and go to work every day, and so it's very difficult. Trust me. It's much easier to just be a full-time entrepreneur. But because you can just focus on that one thing, manage your time, and you can even wake up at night and work. So it gives you a lot of that flexibility. But for these two groups of people, it's not the same. So this is a group of entrepreneurs whose challenges might not be the same like the full-time entrepreneur. But the idea is you need to find a balance. That is the idea. As a professional, you have your obligations to work, but at the same time, you also have to kickstart your entrepreneurial journey. So, how does it start? I'm not sure if there is a 1, 2, 3 systematic way, but is a thinking about it. You know. So, if you say you already have a passion, you are a student, you joined the university. You decided to do maybe software engineering, you know, and then but you also have a passion for, you know, how you can leverage maybe technology and business or entrepreneurship. So it means you have to create time for this other thing, for your passion, but at the same time, you cannot be shoddy on your work. You are supposed to be excellent. As a student, academic is your priority. Otherwise, why are you doing it? You know, if you are a student, academic is your priority, which means so long as you are there, you have to be excellent of being excellent at being a student. You have to care about your grades. You have to care about all the requirements, all the obligation and responsibilities of a student. And the same is applies for the profession. But it's because of that passion that you have that gives you that extra energy to still push beyond the time, working times. So like for me, for example, I don't have a social life, you know. A lot of times I get invited to go to cool events that are, you know, fun and all that. And I can't because there's no time. Like right now, I'm just before this call, I had another call, and before that call, I had another call, and another call, and I had other meetings. So there is never time. And when I finish now, of course, I'm gonna go eat something and then get into another one. And this is my life. And I wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. and start all over again. So why do I have to do that? Is because I have big responsibility. On one hand, I have to take care of my job and make sure that I can deliver what they want and beyond. You know, this is what I encourage. You have to be excellent. And then at the same time, you have to create time for this second thing on your side. And there are many ways in which you could go about it. One is to find team members. You know, this is very important. Sometimes, because we are so, like I have a student here who is building an electric bike. You know, he's from Nigeria, very passionate about you know, the making those things, whatever, the wires and all that, you know, the technical. He's very technical with the product and very passionate about it. But he can only do so much by himself. You know, he can't be the same. He can't be a student and at the same time be the product developer of the project. At the same time, be the business or like the CEO or like project lead. Be the business development. No, you can't do all that. You can't do all that by yourself. And especially when you have time is always you're always stuck with time. Time is an issue because of the other things. So you have to find like-minded people who share that passion with you, or people who are already in that kind of area, doing the same kind of things, and see a way in which you can collaborate with them and maybe joining them or them joining you or coming up together into creating something new. And with that, you also have to have a plan. So you say, like, in the next 6 months, of course, maybe I will still be employed. So what can I do in the next 6 months together with my teammates? And then you map that out until you reach a point where you say, okay, now we've done the research to know what's going on with this, the visibility, the viability of this business. We've talked to the customers. We've bootstrapped. We've come up with an MVP. We have tested it, and there's good feedback. People maybe like it. And now the next thing is we want to launch and start having our first customers, paying customers. And when you reach that point is when now you can have this transition plan. Say, like, now in the next up to 6 months, I should be transitioning from my full-time job to my startup. You don't just jump. You don't just say, "Oh, I'm quitting everything." These things we see in the movies. Someone one moment they are inspired, the next thing they're like I'm quitting. Or the Mark Zuckerberg who was doing university and all of a sudden, like, I'm quitting university. My friend,
not all idea works.
How can you quit when you know you are the first person from your village to go to university, and now because you are passionate about this idea, you want to quit? No, don't quit. Find a balance and find that transition. There's no fixed way. You don't lose the title of being an entrepreneur simply because you are not full-time on it. You're just being a smart entrepreneur, and this is how I would think about it most of the times. You have something on the side and build it slowly and creating that time and sacrificing a lot of your time, because this is what it is required for you to build a side business before you actually quit your job or quit university. And it's difficult. It's very difficult. I know there's a student here who had to quit for 1 year. Actually, more than 1 year, close to 2 years. He had to quit just so that he could go build his business. He was working on it while studying. Then all of a sudden it went, he found that product market fit. He got a lot of investment, and he could not just do it at the same time with his school because it demanded a lot from him. It was growing very fast. And yeah, at that point he had to take a 2 up to 2 years gap year so that he could just focus on his business. So in this case, it's a different story because he had funding. So you don't want to say you're an entrepreneur and you don't even have a place to stay. You know, you don't know your next meal and you're quitting your job. How are you going to be able to do it well? So unless you have funding.
That's a perfect answer. Wow, thank you, Mohamed, for that. That's very instructive. Now, yeah, I said the last question, but I just saw my notes now. I saw that there's one that's yet to be answered. That it was when you actually mentioned it that I discovered that I was going to ask that, because you actually already gave us a layout of the entrepreneurship milestones. So you are, now that we're clear on the fact that entrepreneurship is actually the seed of passion and also problem solving, kickstart your journey into entrepreneurship, and then and if you want to look into as a student or professional want to start, you have to do things side by side. So the question I want to ask lastly is if you could just kind of run us through that again. You did it the other time in passing. You can just run us through it again. The roadmap of complexity of the roadmap of starting a venture. So like from idea stage, what's the next thing to be done? You mentioned that you have to probably have a plan and then get team members, have a plan. There was the next thing after planning, research and all that. So can you just give us a list of that, and then probably point out the major ones in the first phase of entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. And if I was to say it's the core of this whole conversation that we've had till now. How to actually to be in the venture creation, how do you create a venture? Where do you start? Where do you end? So you think about you guys have heard about incubators and accelerators, right? Yes. So for the incubators, at least for the way we do it here at the university, is we with the incubators, our aim is to help an entrepreneur move from an idea, move from an idea all the way to launch until they launch the business. We do that. We work with them. Like right now, we just launched the incubator and accelerator. It will be for 8 months. And this will be the journey for those who are joining through the incubator. The ones who have an idea, an MVP, it's just initial in the very beginning, right? So that is the incubator. And then for the accelerator, these are businesses which are already launched. They are already having some traction, and they want to scale. So we support them through the accelerator. And each of these have their own curriculum or their own programs that they have to follow. But for the sake of the ones who are starting this journey and they just want to enter it, they have this idea, this passion. I would just go focus for now on the incubator, on that process of venture creation. So the first thing, you have this idea. At this point, it's usually very general, very vague. The first thing that I usually advise people, in my previous company, I was just chilling with my friends 2 a.m. in the morning, and the idea came. It just came up like, okay, we went together in school. We went together in South Africa, the African Leadership Academy together, and he was just telling me, remember when you were in South Africa, and there was this, you could see these murals, very beautiful. Like, so he had this idea, and it was very vague. He was telling me about it at 2 a.m. And for me, because I'm very business oriented, I like to think on how to create a business model out of something. How I think of your idea and I see how can I implement this idea and make it a business and make money out of it. So when he was explaining to me, that was what was going over my mind. And immediately, the first thing that we did at 2 a.m. on a random chat like that was to write down the idea. This might look like it's meaningless, but when words are living organisms. Words are very powerful. The moment you say them, the moment you write them, they become alive. They give life to the idea. The next thing is you want to validate that idea. How do you validate the idea? Start by having talk to someone, tell someone about your idea, your friend, your colleague. Most time, don't share mostly with your friends and people very close. Unless they are very reasonable people, but sometimes they would discourage you. Like, really, you want to build a robot? You Because they know you not to be like that, and they don't know what is inside you. They don't know what's in your mind. I mean, it's better you talk to someone who will not judge you.
It's
They'll just tell you,
fresh.
oh, your idea is crappy, or your idea you should do that. But the next step, it's easy, and people don't like doing it. Majority of the entrepreneurs don't do it. Is falling in love with the problem. I cannot stress this. Um, a lot of times, even investors, they just listen to you. The first few things you talk about, your problem, the moment you talk about your problem, they already decide what kind of entrepreneur you are, just through the problem statement. So it's the most important on this journey, is understanding the problem so well and fall in love with the problem. Imagine if you go to a doctor and then you tell them about your issue, and then they tell you, okay, do you also have this? Do you feel like this? Do you, I mean, you're like, oh, this guy knows exactly what I'm facing. I mean, I trust him. He should be a good doctor. If he writes whatever thing, we don't usually know what they are writing, but anything they write for you, you will take it and believe it and go take it to the pharmacy and take whatever medicine was written there. Simply because this person really understood your problem so well. And this is where many entrepreneurs don't go. They don't dig deep into this kind of thing. So you need to go to the market, talk to the customers, talk to those people who are affected by this problem, record what they are saying, you know, find a way in which you can engage them continuously and get that feedback. How bad this problem affects them. Are they willing to pay for a solution for this problem? So this is where you should spend most of your time doing research. And doing research means dealing with or talking or engaging with the customers or the target people that you want to solve the problem for. This is the next thing. And when you have this validation, it allows you. So for those who are building a tech company, the next thing is it allows you to have that initial concept that can help you build an MVP. Maybe if it's a tech solution, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Some people
Yeah.
sit there and like, okay, I have to do this research, I have to see this data sizes, I have to analyze, I have to make sure that everything is perfect. If I'm building an app, the features have to be there, all of them. And no, just build something very quickly, very simple, even if it's just one feature, and take it to the same customer and see their reaction to that thing. See how they engage with it. What kind of feedback can you get from that? And this is what many people don't do, but unfortunately, it's the most important thing. And in our incubators, we stress on this part a lot. And from there, from MVP, of course, the next thing is you go and test. As I said, test the feedback get feedback from the customers, incorporate back on the MVP until where you find a point where, okay, you have some people, users that are using this product. And then you launch and get that initial traction to the paying customers. But this is the hardest part, because once you have the product market fit, the next thing is just like very business the decision making, things that need to be done, marketing, sales, and all that. But this initial stage is very important, and most times many of them don't get it right. And it's not surprising that different organizations like Bloomberg, World Bank, and all this, they quote really strange statistics. More than 90% of ventures or startups or companies failed in their first 18 months of operations. So,
Wow, that's powerful, Mohammed. Thank you. Then the part where you stressed the most, which was that the talking to the customer stage is very crucial, because sometimes we have an idea, and then it's just all in your head, and you think that, oh, because I'm thinking about and fantasizing, this is gonna work and all of that, and then there's this illusion that you are always biased towards your idea. Okay, so but when you take it to the market and you talk to a customer who you think is facing the problem you think you want to solve, their feedback means a lot, because sometimes the way you're thinking about it be may not be able to make money for you, because the customer may not be willing to pay for that version of the product. So but when you speak to the customer, you can modify whatever you have to fit the market, and that's so powerful. So yeah, that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. Thank you for that insight. We can talk about this. We can't finish it
Yeah.
in 10, even in 10 hours. Incubators do a lot of work to really dive into this, and this exactly is what this entire process is what I share with people, and even with entrepreneurs that also want to learn and all of that. So this is beautiful. Yeah, thank you for that, Mohammed, because I've learned a lot. Yeah, thank you, Mo, for that. Coach Mo, I've learned a lot in this webinar, and personally, because I'm an entrepreneur, I know what it means to know everything you said is really very important, and it's very very helpful, quite insightful. So, and I believe that someone or two or three or all of us have been inspired to take that take the idea seriously or something. Entrepreneurship is a beautiful journey, and is basically one of the things that Mohammed has said today is it's built on problem solving. So you may be a professional right now, you're doing something, or you are still in school, you're studying a particular course. When you're talking about entrepreneurship, is you finding a problem to solve. You have an idea jumping at you, or a passion finding you, or you finding a passion. You feel like, oh, so if something like this could be introduced into the market, it would make the world a better place and all of that. So it can actually start like that, because the profession you're actually working on right now also started like an idea, and some people invented that process of doing things, and then it becomes mainstream. So you can have an idea, just something coming to your heart, and then like that, and then you decide to pursue it to create something meaningful out of it and make money out of it as well as make impact out of it. And then you decide to learn more, do your research. Is this problem really existing? Is it valid? Talk to people and all of that. Research about it. And if what you are actually passionate about needs you to learn one or two skills, you can dedicate your time while you're still working or while you're still studying, learn a few things about your passion. Then look for people of like mind that have different also skills that can join you as team members, and then begin to dig it into research and all of that. Create your MVP. It can be a tech product, even if it's a physical product. You can create something simple with the most minimum cost that you can actually afford, and create it and get it out. Let people test it. And when they test it and it works, then you can now begin to look into going into the market full scale, approaching an incubator or accelerator or something. A lot of that. So it's a beautiful journey, and you may not know that small thing that you started can become big and can be the next big thing in the entire universe. Okay, so these are things that really help individuals and help countries and nations and the entire world, and make everywhere a better place as we go by. So it's a good one, and this is so beautiful. And then this is a good time to say thank you, Mohammed, for joining, coming on board and sharing your knowledge, sharing your insights, and spending this time to instruct us. And yeah, thank you so much, Mohammed. Thank you for coming on board, and we really appreciate this. On behalf of the team, we really appreciate this. And we want to say, of course, we are together. So if we have need for you to come talk or to us one more time or any other time, we will gladly reach out and all of that. And
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. I mean, it goes the other way around as well. I appreciate having the opportunity to share some of my experiences with other young people. This is something that I like. I'm passionate about. I really want to see a lot of young people building sustainable businesses and taking ownership of their journey. Um, I mean, Steve Jobs said something. He said, "Crazy. Those who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world, they are the ones who actually change the world." And that one just summarizes everything that we've been talking about. That entrepreneurial mindset, thinking in a certain way, and believing that this is something that can be done, because at the end of the day, everyone is unique in their own way. Everyone is special in their own way, because you're all created by God. So you should be able to, so long as you feel that, you have that feeling within yourself, a desire for change, a desire to do something, and you have that mindset of you can make it, you can do it, you can solve it. I think nothing can stop you. This is something that is very common. It's cliche almost. We all know these people talk about it, but it's actually true, and many people will testify to that. So I'm thankful for this opportunity to talk to you, and I'm looking forward to seeing GradePlus Africa grow as well. It's a very good initiative. A lot of African youth need this, and yeah, it was nice speaking to you guys. Thank you so much.